Last night, Jason Kenney, the Premier of Alberta, Canada, announced that vaccine passport requirements in the province are over, signaling a major win for the truckers' Freedom Convoy. Also want to mention that Saskatchewan also made a similar announcement on Monday. But Jason Kenney said, quote, if the Canada-USA trucker vaccine mandate wasn't bad enough, now Justin Trudeau wants to bring in a mandate for truckers going between provinces. Mr. Kenney wrote on Twitter, Alberta will fight this every step of the way, including in court if we have to. The U.S. is Alberta's largest trading partner. The truckers have been blocking the province's southern border that enters the U.S. in Montana.
However, in Ottawa, a government crackdown on the truckers is getting more and more intense. Just yesterday, a judge passed a temporary order to silence the truckers honking horns for the next 10 days. This comes as police in Canada's capital seized thousands of liters of fuel from the truckers in the Freedom Convoy. But despite the fuel seizures, the convoy and supporters of the movement remained on the scene in Ottawa, where they've been actively protesting for nearly 2 weeks. This video was taken by our next guest, video journalist for Rebel News, Lincoln Jay, who's been reporting from Ottawa and joins us now to explain what's happening on the ground. Welcome, Lincoln.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, and especially so you told us just before we started rolling that it's -7, so our viewers should be aware of that and be thankful to you for making time for us. So tell us, what's going on. Obviously, the U.S. reporting has been fairly shoddy and condemning, and of course, it's being condemned by the Canadian government. So what's happening?
Well, I've been on the ground here since the 28th of January, and since then, there has been trucks basically everywhere throughout the city of Ottawa, mainly in the downtown core. Now, since the 28th, I've seen the same number of trucks on the ground here, and it's become quite clear at this point that the truckers aren't going anywhere, and they just want these mandates lifted here in Canada.
It's interesting because they were reporting, I think, on Sunday. The reports that I was reading out of course, like the mainstream news coming out of Canada was that the trucks were leaving, that they were getting rid of all the trucks from downtown Ottawa, that they were going to be gone by the end of the night. So you're saying that's not true?
Well, look, can't really see behind me here, but there's trucks behind me, trucks in front of me. Like I said, I haven't really seen any trucks leave, and I've been speaking to so many truckers throughout my time here, and none of them have insinuated that they have any plans on leaving anytime soon. Like I just said, they really believe that they can make a difference and get these mandates lifted. So they don't want to leave until they at least hear some response from the government and potentially get these mandates lifted. It's unprecedented, and we're just here to follow it wherever it goes.
And Lincoln, some of the critics of the trucker protest have linked it to kind of far-right fringe movements. And your own network has been linked to far-right fringe networks as well. I think you guys took a lot of criticism for very favorable coverage of the Unite the Right rally down in Charlottesville, which was an explicitly grotesque kind of white supremacist event. Why doesn't that give people a real sense of foreboding about where this movement does come from?
I can't comment on any of that. What I can tell you is that from me being on the ground here, actually talking to the people here, actually being in the thick of it every single day, I've seen it's nothing but peace here. It's peaceful people, peaceful Canadians from all walks of life, literally from all walks of life, And it's been really hard to be a Canadian over the past 2 years. We've been consistently in and out of lockdowns, and the truckers are here, and the truckers are giving hope to a lot of Canadians that we might actually see these mandates lifted. So as far as Justin Trudeau's called the protesters here, the demonstrators, a fringe minority, but I'd have to disagree with that. I've seen nothing but the opposite, and it's, like I said, it's people from all walks of life, left, right, it doesn't matter.
Right, but the Charlottesville protest was indeed a fringe, racist minority. So why should we be able to trust the judgment of the far-right media that this one is different?
Like I said, I can't comment on any of those incidences. All I can tell you is that you've seen from my footage on Twitter, we have a website called convoyreports.com. On that website, you can see for yourself that it is people from all walks of life. literally every type of person, every type of Canadian. Canada is such a diverse country, and it really shows in this demonstration. And that's my job here, is to show what's really happening, wherever the story leads. And that's what I picked up from being here.
Right. And there's been a lot more coverage on this than just Rebel News. I mean, we can't just say, well, it's because of a right-wing organization was covering it, so therefore it must be right-wing. Lincoln, let me ask you, what sort of disruptions? I mean, the people of Ottawa, the government of Ottawa, the mayor has been saying that there's been some disruptions in downtown Ottawa. What sort of, besides the honking, which sounds like has stopped, what sort of disruption is there for the average Ottawan living their lives in downtown, or for the average business? Has there been, are the roads blocked? Can people get through? Are they able to get to their businesses, to their jobs? Like, what's going on with that?
Yeah, you can get around in the downtown core. You can drive around right where I am. It's directly in front of Parliament Hill. And yeah, it's blocked off here. You cannot drive up and down the road that I'm currently on. But other than that, you can get around the city. A lot of the complaints that were coming from the Ottawa locals here, the citizens, was that the honking was very loud. So now it's been almost 3 days now where there's been absolutely zero honking. So that's that. The noise is completely gone now, pretty much. And as far as the city being gridlocked, like I said, this one street, maybe a couple other streets, it's tough to get by. You won't get by. But other than that, you are able to get around the city.
So police detained 23 in Ottawa protests while truckers blocked the Ambassador Bridge, which links the cities of Windsor and Detroit, which is where I'm from. This is from The Guardian yesterday. The arrests began after truckers closed down traffic in both directions at the busiest border crossing in North America. It handles about 30% of trade between Canada and the U.S.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who refused to meet with the truckers, called for an end to the protests in Ottawa and slammed the Freedom Convoy for blocking the bridge. Let's watch.
Individuals are trying to blockade our economy, our democracy, and our fellow citizens' daily lives. It has to stop.
So Trudeau's speech prompted lawmakers from his own party to resign and accuse the Prime Minister of dividing the Canadian people after blasting the protesters as swastika wavers. So Lincoln, tell us, there is a blockade going on. I think it's at the, if I've got this right, the Ambassador Bridge. Is that right? There is like a blockade crossing between Canada into the U.S. Do you know what is happening with that block? Is that like truckers have actually just gotten there and they're parked, or are they trying to get through the border but they can't because they're not willing to show their vaccine cards? Like, what is happening with that? Do you know?
I believe it's just a similar situation to what we've seen. I don't know if you've been following the Coots border, the Alberta-Montana border, where it's basically, it all comes down to Canadians trying to have their voices heard. Protesting, they've tried everything, and I guess they feel that they need to come to these measures, such as blocking borders. What you're seeing here outside Parliament Hill with the trucks being stationed, I guess a lot of Canadians just feel like this is their last resort to have their voices heard, and that's all I can comment on that.
And what's going on with the gasoline? I know that they've been confiscating, the police in Ottawa have been confiscating the gasoline. Is that happening often? I mean, is no one able to get any gasoline for the truck? So I know it looks really cold. So how are the trucks going to continue running without the gasoline and even just staying warm, or even just moving at some point?
So there was a state of emergency declared in the city of Ottawa on Sunday, and so that evening and throughout the night, we were getting reports and videos sent to us of the Ottawa police seizing fuel from truckers. So around the city, there's various, I guess you can call them stations, kind of like bases, where they are supplying the fuel, where they're gathering the fuel and bringing it out to the truckers. So we were getting reports. We did see videos of people, supporters of the truckers convoy, having the fuel seized. But it's been pretty quiet since that first night. We haven't really seen too many more reports of the fuel being seized, and I can confirm that the trucks are still getting fuel down here. They're still running, and quite frankly, the truckers wouldn't be able to be out here without the fuel because it is so cold.
Yeah. All right. Sounds like it. You stay warm. Jeez.
And before we let you, just curious, why not comment on Charlottesville? Were you not there at the time, or you don't want to weigh in on the organization's role in covering Charlottesville? That's something that's still a little causing a little bit of discomfort here.
I mean, why are we talking about
seems like an easy
Charlottesville?
one.
We're talking about the trucker protest. I mean, it just seems like an odd thing to ask him. Was he even there?
I was a college student at the time. I have no comments on that situation. I don't even know anything about it, to be honest.
Well, Lincoln, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me on. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Lincoln. Tomorrow on Rising, host of the Katie Halper Show and co-host of the Bad Faith podcast, Katie Halper, will join us.
And Aaron Sojourner and Julia Rathman will join us to break down the unequal toll the COVID-19 pandemic has had on workers.
Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a video, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
See you then.